Intel took the stage at CES 2020 to deliver their keynote like they do kind of year after year. And right in the middle of it, they took a few minutes to talk about the progress that they've made on Project Athena. And then they made a surprising announcement to a lot of us, and that is a partnership with Google surrounding this whole idea of Project Athena laptops. And then they went further and debuted a couple new Chromebooks, the Samsung Galaxy Chromebook and the ASUS Chromebook Flip C436 as Project Athena Chromebooks. And all of this is very important. And if you're hearing all of that and going, I don't know what any of that means, we kind of didn't really either. And so we did some research, and I'd like to tell you about it. Today's video is brought to you by NordVPN, and they're the VPN of choice for millions and millions of consumers because they're great at what they do, and that's keeping your browsing safe and secure whether you're at home or on the go. If you'd like to learn more about them and all that they offer, head over to chromeunbox.com/NordVPN to get started. So what is Project Athena? Well, basically this is Intel's newest stab at the idea of something like an Ultrabook, where they create a set of standards basically that manufacturers can build towards. And there's a lot of great stuff on offer for Project Athena devices. Most of them are Windows devices at this point, and there's 25 total, and Intel thinks that there should be 50 by the end of 2020. And they include things like Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5, 16 hours of continuous local video playback, 9 hours of real-world battery use, biometric fingerprint sensing or face detection if that's your thing. It has to wake from sleep in a second. It has to have 256 gigs or more of NVMe storage. It has to have 8 gigs of RAM or more. It has to have a 1080p screen. It has to have, or greater, it has to have backlit keys. There's a huge list of things that you need to have in a laptop for it to qualify as a Project Athena device. And the benefit of all these specs and kind of saying, hey, here's a new standard that you need to aim at, is that all these manufacturers and software makers, so people that make, Windows or Chrome OS, can now point at very specific goals and targets. So when, say, ASUS goes to make their next Chromebook, when they were sitting in the room deciding what they're going to put into the Flip C436, they didn't have to wonder, should we cut corners and go with this Wi-Fi chip or this one? Or should we maybe not include Bluetooth 5.0? Or maybe we could go with that eMMC storage instead of NVMe storage. They don't have to worry about those. If they're saying, hey, we want to make a Project Athena laptop here, we know the standards we have to go with. So they can kind of aim at those things and stop worrying about what corners they're going to cut and put together a machine that fits a particular spec, and then think about how they're going to differentiate their device in other creative ways. The second part of this announcement that was interesting is the fact that Intel is now kind of publicly partnering with Google. It's not that Google hasn't used Intel chips before, but they've not really been partnered in this particular way. And what this all means is that Google now is saying, hey, we want to be on board and we want to make better Chromebooks. We know that we've kind of got the edge in the education market, but when it comes to consumers and it comes to enterprise, we want to deliver top-end devices just like our Windows counterparts. And so this partnership between Google and Intel is a pretty important thing moving forward. And here's the primary reason and the primary example of this. Take a look at the Samsung Galaxy Chromebook. This device isn't something that was cooked up in, a couple meetings or over the course of a few weeks. This is something that's probably been in development for well over a year. And what's important about this device and devices like it, the Flip C436 and other devices that are going to come that are going to be specified as Project Athena devices, is that we're starting to see the result of a more vertical integration. So think about what Apple does with iOS or an iPad, for instance. They build the hardware, they make the software, they also build the chipsets. So their teams internally know exactly what each piece is capable of, can communicate with one another, and then they build in what you think of as a vertical way. We all know that Intel's not making any laptops anytime soon, and we also know that Google doesn't seem to be interested in making internal hardware. They're not making chips. They're not making ARM chips or x86 chips. So how can either one of these companies make a more vertically integrated device? Well, it's by partnering together and working together and deciding, you know what, as Google, we're going to help our software engineers understand better what Intel's offering on their chipsets. And as Intel, we're going to clearly communicate everything we're building into these chipsets and motherboards so that the software guys can take full advantage of it. Once those guys are on board, then we can deliver this package, this Project Athena thing, to all of our hardware makers so we can say, hey, look, look, here's all the tools we have in this kit. Go make something cool with this. Back to the Samsung reference, this means Samsung gets this Project Athena kit of tools basically and says, okay, let's make a Chromebook based on this stuff. So again, they're not thinking about storage, they're not thinking about RAM or connectivity or any of those things. They get to sit and think about, well, what do we want it to look like? What color do we want it to be? How do we want to build the keyboard? Do we want to have a pen in here? Hey, what about a 4K AMOLED screen? And they get to think about all that cool stuff that they probably wouldn't have thought about before because they were trying to figure out what they were going to do and how they were going to go about making a Chromebook on just kind of a generic motherboard. And so now that they don't have to think about those things, they get to be more creative, and things like the Galaxy Chromebook are the result of this. So if you came into this video not even knowing what Project Athena was or why it matters that Google's partnering with Intel or any of those things, hopefully now you kind of know. You understand that this Athena thing isn't going anywhere. It's been around for a year and Intel seems to be kind of stuck to it. I mean, we saw Ultrabooks stuck around for a long time before it really changed and moved the market forward. So expect more Chromebooks to fit this particular spec. And that's an exciting thing because we haven't seen a ton of really nice high-end Chromebooks, and we haven't seen much innovation in the way of laptops from Chromebooks because honestly, they've just been kind of behind the curve and just trying to catch up to the latest thing that Intel's doing. But now Google's on board with Intel, and just like Windows, these manufacturers now have all the tools that they need at their disposal to build fantastic pieces of hardware. And it's going to be really exciting, I think, throughout 2020 to watch more of these Project Athena Chromebooks launch and to see what other kind of devices we can move into. And hopefully we'll start seeing Chromebooks that come out that aren't just great laptops or aren't just great convertibles or tablets, but actually start moving into different form factors and getting really interesting designs that aren't just plain Jane laptops. And they can do that now because we've got this unified spec that everybody can aim towards, everybody can understand, and everybody's kind of on board and making devices with the same ideas in mind. But guys, that's been it for this one. If you liked it, go down there and hit that subscribe button. Make sure and hit the like button as well. And don't forget to hit the notification bell if you'd like to be alerted when we make future videos just like this one. Until next time, we'll see you.